Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a successful business and thought, I want to scale, but I don't want to be like that? You know what I mean? That perfectly polished presence, the distant corporate vibe, and that feeling that somewhere along the way they lost that thing that just made them, well, them. But here's what nobody's talking about. You don't have to sacrifice who you are in order to scale your business. And you don't have to trade your heart for your growth. And you definitely don't have to become somebody else in order to build this business that is something of significance. So today, I'm going to show you exactly how to grow your business while staying true to who God called you to be. And the thing about it is, your unique way of serving is not a barrier to your growth. It's actually the thing that is the key to your impact. And in fact, when we look at how God designed creation itself, we start to see something fascinating. And I want to go over that with you today. So today, I'm going to show you how exactly to grow your business while staying true to who God created you to be. And in fact, when we look at how God designed creation, essentially what we see is something fascinating. Everything that grows both has structure and it has soul. So if you think about it, a tree needs both strong roots, but it also needs flexible branches. And the stronger the foundation, the higher it can grow. And the deeper the roots, the more fruit that it can bear. And your business is the exact same way. So today I'm going to be sharing my 3-part framework for scaling with soul. And I promise you, this isn't about becoming another polished, perfect brand. It's honestly about creating a space where you can become more intentional with yourself. So first, we're going to start off with these rhythms. And this is the key to scaling without losing yourself. It's not about working harder. It's about working with more intention. And your business needs to have both these sacred rhythms in order to protect both your time and your energy. And here's how I go about creating these rhythms in my business. So I start each day with this sort of sacred pause. I take about 10 minutes to align with God before I even check anything. I block off my calendar into these 3 distinct zones. They can be administration, they can be non-negotiables. And essentially, throughout all of this, these are things that create connection and administration, and they just block off my calendar and allow me the ability to really focus. Then I start to set aside what I said before is my non-negotiable. So these are the boundaries that I have between both work and rest, and I give very specific very specific start and end times to all of this. And essentially what that means is when I'm creating these rhythms in place, I'm not just managing my time, I'm creating a space for God to multiply my impact. And as you're going through all of this, I would encourage you to start to create these rhythms with the mindset that they are going to set you free. They're going to be these things that are not about becoming rigid or robotic. They're really an intentional way to set space for what really matters most in your life. And when you have the right systems that are in place, it's going to actually allow you more freedom to show up as your most authentic self. And if I were to show you what this looks like, just say you have a client welcome template, right? Like you have this special sequence for all of your clients that sound like you on your best day. And you are going through and you're setting these automated check-ins to make sure that you are giving that personal touch to every element of it because they're triggered by specific client actions, right? Like, as we all know how automations are set up. But from there, you build this sort of content system that then lets you show up consistently without being burnt out. So essentially you have this, you welcome your clients into your funnel. You have this system that's already automated. It feels very personal because it is triggered by something that your client does, and therefore allows you to build this system that allows you to show up in a more intentional, consistent way, therefore elevating the experience that your clients have when they're working with you, and allows you the flexibility to focus on other things in your life. So you're creating this system that integrates integrates both who you are, but also allows you the freedom to show up in your most energized, authentic way because you're not doing it from a place of scattered systems. Then you have this third element where you're building the sustainable service. And from there, it's important to note that this is where most people get it wrong. They think that scaling and serving means more people, and therefore they end up serving less. They serve their clients in less capacity and they don't do it as deeply as they could. But the thing is if I were to tell you that scaling is actually meant for you to serve the people that you're meant to serve in a more meaningful way and to do it in the right way, I think that would potentially change the way that you approach scaling within your business. If I were to give you kind of like an action plan to follow, I would say to go through and identify the 3 most important touch points when it comes to working with your clients. Throughout their entire client journey, figure out where your most personal touch creates the most impact within their interaction with you. So where can you go through and along this journey with them, how can you create this touch point, like this set of systems along the way as they're working with you throughout the journey, whether they're going from just hearing about you to deciding to work with you, how can you create this space that allows for these personal touches to show your personality within everything? And then I want you to build an automation around that. So figure out, how can I still remain authentic to who I am, but also serve my clients in the best way? Like, how can I show up and serve them without draining myself every time a client comes through? And build an automation around that creates connection instead of replaces that connection with it. Then I want you to take out your journal, your notes app, your Google Doc. If you're like me, I write everything in my Google Docs because it is your permission slip to scale and to do it without losing who you are. And I want you to write down these 3 questions so that you can identify it. So the first one being is, what elements of your business light up and need to stay high touch? So what elements of your business are so important to you and need to remain a high touch point so that you're still serving your clients in the best capacity? What tasks could you systemize or automate? And then where could you create this signature piece of it that actually allows you the freedom to serve in a deeper capacity, but still stay true to who you are? And I think that if you're asking these questions, then you're probably ready to scale while you're staying authentic and true to who God actually created you to be. And so as you're doing that, I really want you to dive deeper and think about these questions, because as you're going along all of this, you're going to start to pick and implement these tasks and these automations and systems and everything that you're creating, and start to integrate them into your business and do it in a way that feels natural, that feels sustainable. And, that could be as simple as starting out with just creating one sequence, right? Like, so when your client has an interaction with you, you send them your calendar, and that's one automation and one easy way for you to, be accessible and reduce the back and forth of always having to, say, oh, I'm available this day or I'm not available this day. And it ends up creating this high value touch point with your clients that is something that is so simple that alleviates all the back and forth, the unnecessary emails, the decision making that you have to do, like all of the separate things in it. And then after you've done that, you've done the deep dive into, how do you want to show up most authentically while scaling? I want you to join us over at the Eden and Empire community. And this is where we're having those deeper conversations and really diving deeper into building a business in the way that God intended it to be. We are building businesses that not only honor who God created us to be, but also honor our family, and we are honoring our faith. We're taking our business and merging all of those things together. And I'm going to link it in the show notes, but God didn't just give you these unique gifts and these talents and this business for them just to disappear as you grow. He didn't give them to you so that could end up being just like somebody else down the street and lose that personal touch of what he really gave you that makes you unique. He gave them to you as this foundation for you to build your scaling strategy.